you've addressed that you don't want to be, you don't feel comfortable being touched that way, or you've put it out in the public like this. So he doesn't do it anymore. But then you see him do it to other people, and now you're feeling offended because, well, why didn't he touch me? You got a lot of people who are like that too.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
Buddy, what are you No. It's been. There are people who get jealous on those things. They'll see other people getting certain treatment. No, but people will get treatment, and they're like, well, wait a minute, how come they don't treat me like this?
Welcome to the Team Up Podcast, where there are too many feelings. I'm T Staples, and I'm joined today by
man Freddie B.
And
it's the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee.
And his crickets. And listen, for all y'all, we're bringing you these messages from our mouths to your minds. So if you feel our show us how you feel by subscribing so you can get notified when the new episodes drop. And if you like what you're hearing, send us a message. Our handles are in the description. We'd love to hear how you feel. In today's episode, we're going to put it on the table and just ask you guys, is due process dead? As you recently know, Andrew Cuomo just resigned officially as the governor of New York after several allegations came out of sexual harassment, and we just got to put this on the table now. We don't know if it's right, we don't know if it's wrong. All we know is it's happening. Is due process dead? So to frame up our conversation today, I want to talk a little bit more about what happened with Andrew Cuomo, and to do that, I've got a clip I'm gonna play you guys, so you guys can hear, the problems explained. This is from CNN's The Point with Chris Kazilla. Take a listen.
Andrew Cuomo is in some deep political trouble. Once seen as a shoo-in for a fourth term as governor of New York in 2022 and a possible presidential candidate for Democrats down the line, Cuomo is now facing a series of allegations and scandals that could very well end his political career. Two women who have once worked for him have accused him of sexual harassment. In late February, the New York Times reported on allegations made by a woman named Charlotte Bennett, a 25-year-old former executive assistant and health policy advisor to Cuomo. Bennett told the Times that during one of several uncomfortable encounters, this one a conversation in his state capitol office, Cuomo asked her numerous questions about her romantic life and said he was open to relationships with women in their 20s. The Times said that Bennett regarded Cuomo's comments as, quote, clear overtures to a sexual relationship, end quote. Quote, I acknowledge some of the things I have said have been misinterpreted as an unwanted flirtation, Cuomo said in a statement in response to Bennett's allegations, adding, quote, to the extent anyone felt that way, I am truly sorry about that, end quote. Now, the Bennett accusations came just days after a Medium post written by Lindsay Boylan, another former Cuomo aide, in which she made a number of allegations against the governor, including that in 2018, Cuomo, quote, stepped in front of me and kissed me on the lips, end quote. Cuomo's office categorically denied Boylan's accusations about the kiss. They also pushed back on another allegation in Boylan's Medium post that the governor had suggested he and Boylan play, quote, strip poker, end quote, on a flight, providing denials from four different current and former staffers who had flown with Boylan and Cuomo and insisted that episode did not happen. And when asked for further comment, Boylan, who is currently running for Manhattan Borough President, replied that she was letting her Medium post speak for itself. Sidebar. Boylan first made the allegation of sexual harassment in December 2020. Cuomo denied it at that time as well. Meanwhile, Cuomo has called for an independent review of all of the accusations against him to be selected by State Attorney General Letitia James and the top judge in New York State. But James rejected that proposal, suggesting that it could be seen as Cuomo trying to exert some control over the investigation. And instead, her office has requested an official referral that would provide the investigation, which will be handled by an outside law firm, with subpoena power. Now, the broader point here is this. Cuomo is now fighting multiple legal and political battles, the sort of thing that politicians hope to go an entire career without experiencing. Every state and national reporter is now digging into the various allegations against Cuomo, from the nursing homes to the bullying to his personal conduct with women who work for him. And almost no one ever completely emerges unscathed from that sort of political scrutiny. It's a remarkable fall and a reminder that politics is a wildly unpredictable business where one year's hero can be next year's GOAT. Cuomo has proven to be a resilient politician over his 3 terms in office, having defeated several high-profile primary challengers, including Cynthia Nixon, and putting himself on the verge of doing something his father, the late New York Governor Mario Cuomo, never did, winning 4 terms as governor. But this series of problems poses the most serious threat to Andrew Cuomo's political life that he has ever dealt with, and he's not even close to putting these problems behind him.
Whoa! Hope that gave you guys a full scope, a full picture of what we're going to frame our conversation around today. And just so you guys know, like I said, that was CNN's The Point. You can go actually watch that clip on YouTube for free if you want to know even more about the allegations and the other instances or tribulations that Andrew Cuomo was actually facing. I don't know if you heard bullying, and he mentioned bullying. He also mentioned the situation with the elderly, which I think, in my opinion, really kicked off all of his troubles. You know, when they started criticizing him on reporting COVID-19 deaths, nursing home COVID-19 deaths improperly. They said that he underreported them, that they were more than what they reported. So anyway, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But if you guys want more, you can go to CNN and find that clip. Let's hear what Charlotte Bennett, one of the accusers that he mentioned, had to say after Cuomo came out and spoke from hearing Attorney General Letitia's report. I don't know why I didn't use a whole name. Attorney Letitia, it's a sister.
I think he still thinks that victim blaming is an effective means to negate the facts, but I think it's just more embarrassing for him than it is actually effective.
The governor admitted that he asked you questions that he doesn't normally ask people because you told him you're a survivor of sexual assault. Do you think he's gaslighting you?
Absolutely. He's trying to justify himself by making me out to be someone who can't tell the difference between sexual harassment and mentorship. We have a report, we have the facts. The governor broke federal and state law when he sexually harassed me and current and former staffers, and if he's not willing to step down, then we have a responsibility to act and impeach him. He sexually harassed me. I am not confused. It is not confusing. I am living in reality, and it's sad to see that he's not.
He said that he was trying to help you work through a difficult time. At any point, did that seem like that was his intention?
No. His intention was trying to sleep with me. He was trying to sleep with me, and that was actually pretty clear from the report today that he was sexually harassing me. He was not acting as a mentor.
And that's from CBS Evening News with Nora O'Donnell. You heard the words of Charlotte Bennett there speaking about what she heard. Okay, so I'm going to start this off because before I play, I do have a clip of Andrew Cuomo's attorney kind of responding to his to the report that was released and to how they feel the reporting was not done properly, and they mishandled some of the evidence or the lack thereof to come to conclusions. But before I play that clip, I kind of want to get you guys' take on what you guys have, from what you've heard so far. What do y'all think about the situation? I mean, is he being tried in the court of public? Is the court of public opinion trying another case, or what do we have here? What do you guys see?
I mean, the thing I would say is, it's a thin line between a lot of these things. She said it like that was a damning accusation, like he was trying to have sex with her. Like that's what people do. Like we sexualize everything. Everything's about either sexuality or sex in broader media. So we're really pushing that narrative. You got the slut walk from women. Everything is about, everything you see is about either sexuality, someone's sexuality, or the act of having sex. And so that's what people want to do in some form or fashion. So just because a man wants to have sex with you, that's not a damning accusation. It's like, okay, he finds you attractive and wants to have sex with you. Okay, big whoop. You know what I mean? And she said it like that was some incriminating thing, But on the flip side, you got this thin line that he's the governor of New York and he can he can send a word and mess your whole career up, or have you stuck in the doldrums or somewhere. So it's like I think I've seen some of the stuff, and some of the stuff it was like, oh, he grabbed. I think one he hugged a girl and grabbed her breast or grabbed his other girl butt, stuff like that. Obviously, yeah, like he can't do so. I mean, him being reprimanded for that, I get it, but him saying like, oh, you look nice, like the whole thing with like dudes saying like a woman look nice in that skirt. I mean, I think we get into this equality thing, and it's like if that's what we're pushing towards, and like a lot of the women who push towards that, then on the flip side they echo this girl, and it's like if we're pushing towards equality, women have to like like when this happens, like, hey, no, I'm good. Like say like you can't just a guy say you look cute and you just smile and keep walking. Right. Like you didn't do nothing. Like how would he know that you don't like him? You know what I mean? Because the thing is I am definitely a proponent of EQ with men, because I think I am definitely a proponent. You know what I mean? But the thing is the average person, not even man, but the average person does not have adequate EQ. They are going to miss a lot of different unsaid things to catch, like, oh, okay, they not feeling me. Me, I'm like, if I give a girl a light compliment, I start with a light one. She don't reciprocate it, then it's like, oh, okay, well, she not really feeling me, and we just continue on. But most guys can't do that. So we're going to make people lose. Like, that's the thing, losing your livelihood. That is so big, to take away somebody's livelihood. It's like when you do that, it's like there has to be a distinct reason. Like, you got to come with some stuff. Like, yo, this person was egregious, that we're going to take away the way they feed themselves and their family. You got to come with something. You can't come with, oh, he was, he wanted to sleep with me, and it wasn't mentorship, and and all this other type of stuff. You got to come with something to take away somebody. That's major. People don't understand that, I don't think.
Yeah, and I think to circle back to the woman you talked about with him saying, commenting on the dress, that is actually one of the 11 women that they kind of drew out of the 147 interviews or so. It was about 30 of them that they highlighted, and 11 of them that they determined he committed some type of harassment or sexual harassment or inappropriate commenting, like Freddie B said, towards them. That was one of the 11. That was the nurse that he was administering him his COVID vaccine, who he commented that she makes the robe look good. That's literally what he said, and that is on record in public, actually, what he said. But it was then found in this report to be a type of harassment, or unwanted commenting. And I thought that was interesting. Nuts. Yeah, that's crazy, right? He said, you make the robe look good, when she gave him the shot. And that's what they got. So that's actually what that came from, Freddie B. It's interesting because Attorney General Letitia James, when deciding not to use a high judge in the case, then kind of put this into these two independent law firms to do this investigation. One of the law firms, which is a law firm that specializes in women with workplace issues, and then another law firm, the opposite law firm, the one with the gentleman who spoke on or during the report, had actually tried to sue and lost against their lawsuit against Andrew Cuomo in the past. Two law firms that, to me, show they could not be unbiased in their investigation. Not that they're unprofessional, but they both had bias against the person they were going to investigate. So and to interview and all these other people. So I thought that was interesting. A thing that the Attorney General did not speak about at all in her findings, or when she delivered the report. What I also wanted to bring out and ask you guys, and Freddie B, is good, you kind of talked about people losing their whole livelihood over this stuff. I found it interesting that after the report came out, what Andrew Cuomo's team decided to do was have his attorney speak first. They said before he put in his resignation, they had his attorney speak first. And I thought this was interesting. Here's a little clip of what his attorney came out and said. Take a listen.
The investigation was conducted to support a predetermined narrative. In our legal system, both sides are heard. and given access to the evidence. But here, instead of acting as independent fact finders, the investigators acted as prosecutors, judge, and jury. On Tuesday, the Attorney General and the investigators called a press conference. And within minutes of that very carefully choreographed press conference, there were calls for the governor to step down. We weren't given, as Mr. Fishman told you, any advance notice about when the report would be released, its findings, a chance to respond to errors, inaccuracies, and that was intentional. This was not an exercise in truth finding. This executive assistant gave an anonymous interview to the Albany Times-Union. It was published on April 7 of 2021, and I encourage you, please read what she told the Times-Union about that day. She told them that she was asked to come to the mansion to fix a technical issue with the governor's iPhone or with his phone. And the report states as fact that she was summoned to the mansion. What she tells the Times-Union is that she walked into the governor's second floor office, where he slammed the door, groped her breast under her shirt and over her bra, and then she left without saying a word because she was so upset. The governor was interviewed on July 17th. And during that interview, he was told for the first time when this alleged incident took place, November 16 of 2020. And after that interview, I did, as the governor's lawyer, what I would have expected that the investigators had already done. I did what any investigator would do, which is I reconstructed the events of that day. Me and my team went through the emails for that day, all the entrance and exit records, and this woman's story, which is stated as fact in the report, is false. The documentary evidence does not support what she said. And what is disturbing to me is that the two investigators did not show that evidence to you. They ignored it. Ask them why.
That's a good question. That's a real good question. I kind of wonder when we do these public displays of shaming and kind of finger pointing, are we ever really thinking about the real evidence that's at hand? The real, what is fact versus the whole notion of believe all women, gender propaganda,
emotions, emotionalism.
Yeah, emotionalism. I mean, she literally says that they found out that not only was it was false, but what she said was the reason she even said she was there was categorically incorrect based on what was filed by her and her team, her part of the team. Hey, and then she got an email literally 5 minutes after arriving that she's supposed to fix a speech. But she said I was there because he had a technical issue with the phone and I need to fix it. So we can't really know the whole truth of what's going on other than what is being reported and what is being said. But what I am kind of confused about is at what point does this just become another he say versus she say type scenario? Do we have any real hard evidence that corroborate these incidents? She goes on to talk about, if you watch that video, and that's a long video, by the way, just want to let you guys know, but you can find her, Andrew Cuomo's attorney speaking before he gives his resignation. You could go on to watch her talk about how there were so many people in the home that day, in the mansion that day, and in the office. For him to slam the door, as she said he did, there had to have been some witnesses. There were none. People denied the incident. They don't deny the incident, but they denied seeing her go in his office or hearing a door slam. And I thought that was interesting, and it's just some similar stuff was disproven in the report, but that was not highlighted when they gave the report in the press conference. And so I thought that, there has to be this narrative that must be going forth. And what is the narrative? Well, Letitia James said it herself. We believe all women, and we must believe all women. So, Freddie B, Dr. Butterly, I ask you, must we believe all women?
It's been too many cases of people. Matter of fact, what happened in Oklahoma, what destroyed Black Wall Street was because somebody said that this kid had raped this woman in the elevator. This has been going on several different times. I believe
Emmett Till.
Yeah, well, So
89-year-old. She's not 89-year-old. The woman that was accused that he whistled at for sexual reasons or for whatever reasons that he was trying to, trying to get at her. She denied it at 89 years of age. That what? He actually wasn't trying to do that. They should have put her butt in jail, just like they put Bill Cosby in jail.
There's been several cases where this has happened. Now, I'm not one of those who's insensitive to understand that things do happen. People do get sexually assaulted, raped, whatever you want to call it. I'm not insensitive to not say that those things don't go on. But in this day and time, there's so many people who are clout chasing, wanting to be the next whoever on social media or the news or whatever else, that they're willing to go as far as they can to get that story out there, to get their name associated with it. Because I look at this story, what if he was just some random guy? Okay, let's just use it this way. What if it was one of us? Would it have as much relevance and what's going on and it being drug out in the news? Or would it be just,
Well, if it was me, yes, because nigga, I'm famous. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Well, excuse me. I'm sorry. I'm going to use myself then because, Thomas might be same thing.
Use yourself, Buddy Lee. Speak for yourself. Yes.
But, I'm not on a celebrity standpoint. So my thing is, what would happen if it was me that they threw out there? Oh, you just hear a one-liner and then that's the end of it. And maybe not even hear anything. Mm-hmm. But because these people have a name and something associated with them, like he's the governor, an entertainer, a celebrity, athlete, whatever it is, it's like a lot of that's going around. Now, one thing I will say that might want to change a lot of this and make people think twice before they actually come out and make sure that their facts are straight and they're actually telling the truth is when these people are accused of all this stuff and then it comes out that they're innocent, whatever happened to that person that they accused should turn around and happen to them.
But as we all know, the stain is still on the person that's been accused, regardless if they've been exonerated. I mean, and the thing about it is this narrative that's being pushed forward of believe all women, in my opinion, is fueling this gender propaganda culture. It's kind of a misinformation culture. It's the information is let's just believe what everybody says. And the thing about it is that women lie, men lie, not because they're women and not because they're men, but because they are human. Humans. This is a function of humanity. So to say that we must believe all women, then we must, to be equal and just, say we got to believe all men, right? And then
that's how it should be.
But then people would push back to you and they would say to you, what? Well, traditionally, women have not been believed.
Well, if you want to use that, then you can use other cultures, other religions. You can go down the list if you want to say that.
So these are all things that kind of contribute to this idea of rape culture, right? It's this idea in America that we have a culture of rape. I've never really agreed with this idea, partially because a lot of times people quote false statistics when they talk about rape culture. Like, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard 1 in 5 college age women will be raped. Have you heard that statistic before?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I've heard something like that.
The Bureau of Justice Statistics would disagree with that statistic, but it has been used to get people in office. People have campaigned on it. From 1995 to 2013, they say 1 in 53 is the rate of college-age females, and that's 18 to 24, that have either experienced rape or some type of sexual assault, right? So they include a wider, they have a cast of a wider net, but then it's 1 in 53. So the numbers has been wrong. We don't have this culture like we think we do, but it has some level of propaganda to say 1 in 5 to make people scared. Look out. Watch out. Come to get you. And I think one of the things we have to challenge is the ideas. I would say that we should believe all facts. But now we have to ask, what is a fact? In this case, things that people wrote down, are those considered facts? Would y'all consider those facts? These writings that,
Somebody's opinion.
Yeah, what is her name? I'm trying to get her name right. Her name is Charlotte Bennett. When she spoke to CBS, she talked about documenting her experiences while working for Andrew Cuomo, and talked about other coworkers of her documenting and sharing those documents amongst each other. But what about that makes them facts? I mean, if I wrote a story about Freddie B being blue and gray, and now he's all of a sudden brown, does that make it a fact because I wrote it down?
I look at that as an opinion, and a lot of people are making their opinions become fact.
So we have to now, I have to now say to you guys, what is a fact? The question I have is, what is a fact?
And facts.
It's very skewed these days.
Facts schmacks. Facts don't matter no more. It's how you feel. It's how you feel. I feel like this, and this what it is, and this what it's going to be. If you disagree, you cancel. Take your job.
Because you remember
Take
we
your
did
job.
the story about the lady who flew to Africa, and she made her comment about, and then she was like beginning of cancel culture, and like, but they were saying that she needed to be raped, and it was like, wait a minute, you're basically saying the same exact thing that you're accusing her of. And so a lot of people do that these days. They'll say just because somebody is homophobic or whatever it is, now it's like they put them in this category and want to bash them and everything else. But it's like, but what you're fighting, what you want to point out, you're now throwing it. It's like you're saying this person's a bully, but now you've become the bully.
That's good, but
that's where we live. Everybody, nobody's happy. Everybody's miserable, and misery loves company. So people see opportunity to drag somebody down and bash somebody and release their toxic. I hate using the word toxic, but spew their inner sanctums of their toxicity because they're angry. They will do it. They will take advantage, and that's where we find ourselves. So now that's why people are so quick to cancel people instead of like, oh, let's make this a teachable moment. Let me teach you and bring you up. It's like, no, instead of bringing you up, let me bring you down to where I am because I'm angry because we live in a FOMO environment. Social media's created FOMO. Like,
explain FOMO for us. What's the FOMO mean?
FOMO is fear of missing out.
Oh, right. Oh, I thought, you know what? I thought that's what it meant. But I don't usually hear that terms in terms of when people are investing in stocks, Like, I got to get in because, but it's interesting to use that.
Yeah, so that's what happened that's how people end up losing their whole ass on stocks because it's fear of missing out. People, because you invest in stocks when it's been going down. That's when you hop in. You don't hop in when it's been going up. Like, all right, now I'm gonna hop in because then it go up for a little bit, then it drop, and then you got in at the top of the mountain,
right?
And it drop back down, you lose your money when you're supposed to get in the valley. So then you take the ride back up. You know what I mean? But FOMO is is a totally negative thing. You on Instagram, you seeing people take trips. People only post their highlights, so you just seeing highlights from a whole bunch of people. But you living your own highlights.
It's IG life, baby.
IG,
yeah.
Exactly. And so people compare their regular life to other people's highlights, and they feel bad about themselves. They feel, like, dang, I should be doing this, and this. I ain't nothing. Da 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 da. You feel bad. Your self esteem go down. And then you finally see a low light, and somebody else like, okay, yeah, he sucked too. Yeah, you suck. Look how terrible you are, to knock that person down so you can feel better about yourself. Mm-hmm. That's what people do now. So, that's the thing to do. Is the hot, and then you got the mob mentality, that's just natural, innate in humans. Hop on the bandwagon. Everybody else dogging the person. Let me hop in and get my kick in. Like, remember back in the day, people get in a fight, you fall to the ground. Everybody in the circle join in. They get their little kick in. Like, I want to hit somebody. I was mad from earlier today. My mom said this, so now I get to get some anger out and kick you when you down. That's what they say. Kick a man when they down.
Okay, so I have a question. Is the myth of the lying woman? I mean, I mentioned it earlier. But is the myth of the lying woman, has it been replaced by this new myth of a woman who never lies?
You tell me one person that never lies, and I can tell you that they're lying through their teeth at that moment.
Yeah,
everybody lies.
Show me a person who never lies, and I'll show you a liar.
Yes. Everybody lies. Even the simplest things. I could say, T, how you feeling? You be like, oh, I'm good. But your foot's hurting you. So you lied. But people don't look at that, or they try to clean it up and call them white lies. A lie is a lie.
Right.
Just like drunk is drunk. I mean, you can't get around it.
Right. Try to put white in the front of lies, because you try to make whiteness good. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so is this situation we're dealing with Andrew Cuomo that he's going through? Is this a product of rape culture? Would you guys say what he's going through is a product of rape culture? What these women have gone through in the situation, they are products of rape culture?
My question is Cuomo one of those people who compliments people and they just taking it wrong? Because you know how there's some guys who are just like, oh, you look nice today. Oh, I love you in that red dress. Hey, those shoes are looking good. I like your hair.
Well, Cuomo has now, I will say, he has come on a couple of times at this point and said that he greets people. He does kiss them when he greets them. He does, sometimes he touches people's faces. And now Freddie B is in New York. I'm in New York. So I've seen a couple of his press briefings. I don't know if you've seen any of his pressers, Freddie B. But one of them, the one immediately after his attorney came out and spoke, when he came out and talked about him kissing and hugging people, he proceeded to put pictures up of him, throughout time, kissing, hugging people of all races, cultures, genders, backgrounds, social economics, like poor, rich, to like put on display, like, this is who I am. This is who I've always been. This is who you know me to be for the last 40 years. I haven't been, so if this offends people, and I understand now that culture has changed, there has been a change in culture. There's been change in what we do politically. And so this is now a learning moment for me to stop doing those things. But then you see him, like, he literally, he's got from even all the way to Obama and Hillary Clinton to all the way down to just like him kissing babies and the whole nine. And I thought it was interesting because he made a point to say, this is what I do. I didn't mean any ill will by any of it. And I do need to say one other thing that a lot of people haven't corrected. They did find out one of the people he was alleged to grope, they found out that he touched her stomach and her shoulder when he walked through the door. And it was a sheriff, the female sheriff. And he said, in his defense, he said, I pat all my sheriffs on the back to let them know I see them. Somebody who's doing a job, protecting me and the whole nine, I that's what I do. And if I walk through the door and touch somebody on the stomach, I am sorry. I don't remember doing that. But that is not uncommon for me to do, because that is not uncommon because I normally do, a touch on the shoulder, a salute, something like that. So
what I add to it is, you might always do something. On the flip side, it's like, he the governor,
right?
And when you get into when you attain certain levels of power and increased levels of power, you gotta move different. When you get higher up, you just gotta move different. Like Drake gotta move different than how he moved when he was at Degrassi. Because he the Drake now, he the different level.
He the Drake now, not Degrassi.
Right. Right. He ain't wheelchair Jimmy Drake no more. He Drake, the world renowned rapper. So it's like sometimes you can't. I will say it ain't good enough to say, oh, this is what I've always done. Like, okay, you might have always done that, but you in a different situation now. So it's just like you might have a Toyota Corolla hatchback, or you might drive a Hyundai Accent. You drive a certain way. If I give you a Lamborghini Reventon, you can't drive the same way. It's a totally different car, totally different animal, totally different beast. It's just like you got to switch up how you was driving. You know what I mean? Because you got a different piece of machinery that can do different things that can't do.
I mean, it can do more damage. You go faster.
Exactly. In that Accent, you had a certain type of engine, like maybe a 1.8 cylinder engine that had 140 horsepower. You could floor that thing going on the highway because you had to hurry and get up to speed to get to where you need to go. You get in that Lamborghini Reventon, you can't floor it. Like if you floor it, then you would probably take off and fly. Like you gotta be a little more cautious on it. So I mean, I will say that you can't that is not sufficient to say I've always touched and kissed and did all the time. Right. So once you become the governor, and even though he protect yourself.
Even though he was just basically saying that this is something that he's always done. Not this isn't new behavior. Like he didn't want. I think that's what he was trying to address. Is like this isn't new. So this is gone on like this for years. And he also came back and say, but I understand things are different now, and they must be different, and I must change, and I must learn and grow.
You gotta protect yourself, like they say in boxing matches and combat matches. Protect yourself at all times, and that's why I tell people. In real life, you like protect yourself at all times. Like make sure you good, because like it's also a thin line between victim blaming and self accountability. You know what I mean? Some people are like, oh, you're victim blaming. It's like no. At the end of the day, you still gotta you gotta protect you. Like who else gonna protect you? You can't be just leaving yourself out here naked, because at the end of the day, people trying to come up, and people, if they see an opportunity to come up, they're gonna come up. Even the nicest or the most honest person you think. It's an opportunity. If you set before them an opportunity for them to gain something more for themselves with minimal or no amount of work, they're gonna take that opportunity. And so then it just comes down to morals. But morals are relative. You know what I mean? Some people moral code is based off their religion. Some people don't have a religion. Their moral code is just based off what they personally think is moral. And then when you talk about people who don't follow any type of religion, they have no set codes that they follow. So they codes that they follow is just off what they personally think is moral. And so then in that arena, you just going from person to person. Like this person they may hold this up to a little bit higher standard than this other person. This person lower standard than this other person. So morals, that's why you can't just blanket apply morals, because it's all relative. Because it's all based on that person's inside soul, on things that they do that may vex their soul if they do it. And even in Christianity, it's a set of rules, but how you apply them and when you apply them and where you apply them can vary. You got a whole bunch of little slightly gray areas that people apply them more stringently than the other person. So that's why it comes down to morality is relative. You can't just apply morality to people.
And then my question too on that, the sheriff saying, touch my stomach and back or shoulder or whatever it was. All right. So how would that sheriff feel if, now you've addressed that you don't feel comfortable being touched that way, or if you've put it out in the public like this. So he doesn't do it anymore. But then you see him do it to other people, and now you're feeling offended because, well, why didn't he touch me? You got a lot of people who are like that too.
I don't know about that one, buddy.
Buddy, what are you
No. It's been. There are people who get jealous on those things. They'll see other people getting certain treatment. No, but people will get treatment, and they're like, "Well, wait a minute. How come they don't treat me like this?" It's like, well, it's like every time you see somebody, you give them a hug. And then this other person you don't give a hug, and they're like, "Well, why don't I get a hug?"
So you're getting left out, basically, is what you're saying.
That's why So it's a catch-22 either way. Is if he does it, he's going to get accused. If he don't do it, they're going to be like, "Well, why is he singling me out?"
Well, we'll have to definitely talk about that, Dr. Buddy Lee.
Actually,
the day we find out that somebody gets, in trouble for not harassing.
I mean, I think
somebody.
Buddy Lee. Well, I'm assuming where you going is if he, like another sheriff, he touched their stomach and he get him a hug or whatever, and then that other sheriff gets a promotion, like they get some type of favorable action towards them. Then the person like, oh, okay, well, are they getting this favorable action because he closer to them than he are to me? Hold on, wait, what's going on? Is that what you mean? Is that where you going with it?
Yeah, I've seen that a lot, a whole lot.
Got you.
So okay, that makes a little more sense.
So there's some bias. There's some sounds like some affinity bias of sorts or some type of bias there.
Yep.
And then okay, got you. So what do we conclude then with this situation of due process? Is it dead? I mean, is he going to be able to see now? The thing I must bring this up for the audience if they do not know. So he did step down. He resigned. Officially, I mean, this will be the first time in, I think, 27 years is what I was reading. Maybe, I think it was 27 years. This will be the first time in 27 years that there will not be a Cuomo in the governor's office. That is crazy that they have held on to that position in their family that long.
I'm like, who is this family? They got the brother on CNN and daddy and then the son been the governor. I'm like, who is these things?
Yeah. I thought that was also interesting. They were upset that his brother was helping him with his marketing or his responses to all these allegations and things. At first, I didn't understand why they were so upset. I mean, listen, my brother is at CNN and he knows how I need to be playing this thing out in the media. And I'm gonna take all my cues from him. If he knows what I need to do, that's my family. But then I also kind of understood why it was wrong for them to do that because he could be giving them inside information to what they're going to be talking about next. So he can get ahead of reports. So I can see where that could be wrong. But I mean, hell, I ain't gonna lie. Like I was like, when I first heard they were basically saying that was wrong. Cause I talked to Freddie B offline about this a few days, well, maybe a week ago. I was like, it's crazy. Like Cuomo was coming out heavy. Like, no, I ain't do it. Like he just like pushing back, but his pushbacks are very well put together. Like I said, he had the pictures of him doing all the stuff, making sure the people understood, and it was interesting that his whole response to this is basically like, I'm not going to be taken down by this culture of believe all women, because I feel like they're wrong, and I feel like I know that wrong, and I stand on what I believe. And I thought that was interesting. And then it came out that he was being advised by his brother, who is what's the gentleman's name? Is it Chris Cuomo and for CNN? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so he works for CNN. Big deal, big time acre over at CNN, and that. But there's no legal ramifications for that. It just it just looks bad in the public. But I don't get it either. Like that's his brother. He's supposed to look out if I think that falls on CNN. Like all this going on, CNN just because they do it all the time. They have talent. Like, all right, you don't leave an absence. Like, look, we gonna shelf you for a little bit while this going on because we don't want any improperness. That's not the word. What's the word I'm thinking of? Well, it should be journalistic integrity, right? It should be that we want to preserve the integrity of the network.
Right, CNN just sit Chris down. Like, yo, look, we're gonna sit you down for a month or two. Just take a vacation. Just hang out, chill while this blow over. Because because it's brother. Like, how you gonna I can't help you because like, bro, it's fam and you gonna take care of your fam, but CNN just step in and set them down.
But they did do it kind of in a weird way, though. They should not have had him on the calls with the governor and his staff. What it should have been is, okay, this is what my staff says, and then this is what my brother said, but he called me personally. You know what I mean? It should have been, they should have just kept it between them two, and because like they say, he was advising them on what to say and what not to say. And even his brother was like, no, you need to quickly say you didn't do it if you're going to say if this is, don't be quiet about it, because right now who's the loudest is winning. And that was a great he gave him like some real media facts, like you got to get out here and make noise just like they making noise, so I mean that was listen, everything they talked about with that I thought was smart, but I thought it was family. In my mind I'm thinking they family, of course you're gonna help your brother. Like, you could hate your brother, still gonna help him. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I don't know, hate, but like you could have a disdain for him and still would help him. So I don't understand why they didn't think that was gonna happen. Like,
Right. I'm like, what? Like, why is niggas surprised? I don't understand the surprise and the outrage. Like, that's his brother. Like, you supposed to already know. Like, okay, this happened. All right, okay, let's go ahead and nip this in the bud, Chris. Next 2 months, we going or indefinitely. You're not fired. We just don't want any improper. I keep coming back to this word I can't say. We don't want no improper
infractions
things going on. Impropriety. I don't know, but we don't want improper
improprieties. I mean, I don't think that word means what you're trying to say. That's a different word.
I don't know, but we don't want any improper things going on. So we just gonna sit you down and let this play out. And when it's ending, then you can come back. But you good, your job good. Don't worry about nothing. We just don't want any flimflammery going on here, or anybody to say, or we don't want CNN to be looked at as like, oh, we compromised the media or anything like that. So we need to sit you down because your brother is going through this. 'Cause, I mean, the crazy thing about it is, like I love quoting Jay-Z got a song and he got one lyric. Things was all good just a week ago. Now you wearing the same clothes a week in a row. Like just last year, people was talking about Cuomo for president. Now this man don't have a job.
Well, here's the thing.
It showed in a year how much can happen.
The political landscape is violent. Like the gentleman from our CNN clip, he basically said how quickly things can change. I think it's ironic that we went from this guy being the hero that pretty much helped alleviate all these, not alleviate, but reduce significantly the deaths that were happening in New York from COVID, to now he's a part of rape culture. I just thought that was crazy. Not that I'm agreeing or disagreeing with what the allegations are. I'm just saying I think that's insane that how quickly a star can fall. And a lot of times people don't take into account that these are still humans. Yeah, they could do a good deed, but then they can also turn around and do a bad deed. You know what I mean? They're still humans. We're all subject to make mistakes. We're all subject to, any kind of things that, any kind of scandal that we position ourselves to be in. Like you said, he didn't move a certain way, so now he's in position to where they could utilize or say whatever they need to say about him. And that's unfortunate. But you must remember this, Freddie B. You must remember this, Dr. Butterly. He is stepping down. He is stepping down. They called for him to step down, and he is stepping down. So now he's eligible to run for governor again.
And and with him stepping down, are they going to assume or try to put out there that he must be guilty because he's stepping down?
Well, they want to show, I think, that their calls for him to step down were answered by him actually putting in his resignation. But at the same time, what this does is it prevents him from being impeached. So they're no longer moving forward with impeachment proceedings. And so because they're not moving forward with impeachment proceedings, and he's stepping down, he now can run in 2022 if he wants to for governor again. And of course, this stain is going to follow him. The stain doesn't leave. The stain will follow him. And if he runs for president, the stain will follow him. The question now becomes, how quickly will people forget? How quickly will people forgive? And what do people really think and or believe about the allegations that have been found in the Attorney General's report? These are all the looming questions that we have that will be out there. And will he even care to run again? I mean, let's just be honest. I mean, like you say, 3 terms? Been governor 3 terms, like he was going to go for a 4th. His dad, or I don't know if it was his dad or his granddad, who was, but the other Cuomo was in there for 3 terms. Cuomo's been in there for 6 terms. How long is a term? Does anybody know how long a term is? Because I feel like it's at least 4 years or more.
Should be 4 years.
Yeah. So do the math. They in there 6 terms. That's 24 years. And they said 27 years they've occupied, Cuomo has occupied the mansion. So there you go. They've been in that mud. They've been holding it down. That's their house, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Might as well call it the Cuomo house. So, with this happening, of course, there is a big deal. There's going to be somebody's going to step into his place. A lady will be first female governor of New York. So that is one big celebrated thing that's coming out of all of this mess. And what I want to know from you guys is, what do you think should happen from here? Because I feel like and this is just me thinking and feeling, but it's not necessarily something I believe because I just don't know yet. I haven't made a definitive, decision on this yet. But I feel like there's something not right about him having to step down just based on hearsay. I really think that there should be something that is done legally, right, to validate the Attorney General's report. What do y'all think about that? Or should we just like, listen, they went and did some independent investigation. There was no court. There was no decision. We never, we never got this in front of a jury. We never got this in front of a judge. We just gonna go with this. This is what we believe is happening, and therefore you should step down. And then now we're saying, okay, well, y'all believe that? Well, then I'm out. Like, is that how we should be operating, or what should we be doing? I mean, I don't know. Y'all tell me.
That's a tough situation there because it's like it'd be different if there was proof on all this stuff or other people coming out saying, yes, I saw this, or I've experienced this, or something like that. But
listen, Lee, they're saying handwritten notes are facts.
Yeah, I mean,
I know this is new.
I can do a handwritten note and submit it and make it look like it's from somebody to somebody, but it's really not. I mean,
handwritten notes are facts, but emails and timestamps of you actually being in office at different times than what you say you are not facts. Yeah. That's confusing to me.
Yeah, and that actually now emails can be used in court as proof. So I don't understand how they're using a handwritten note. I mean,
all I'm saying is if the ledger says that you was at the house at 1:30, but you say you was at the house at 8 a.m. and got molested.
My question is,
I'm confused about the time gap. Like, who wrote the ledger? Is the ledger wrong? Is that what we're saying? Or
what were you doing there that early? You said you helping with a phone, but
why you ain't clock in?
And here's the other question. What was your did you show up to have fun with the governor? Did things turn sideways?
And that's why the official record doesn't say you were there. I see what you're saying.
He promised you he was going to get you a condo, but his money's wrapped up in something else, and so since he couldn't come through, now you want to throw him under the bus. I mean, and I'm not saying that she's wrong. I'm not accusing her, but I'm just giving out other scenarios. And
this is all why, as when you get to that level, you got to move different. You got to make sure your stuff tight. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it's one of them things you can't be frivolous. You can't be messy when you the governor. When you get that high up and you got that much money, you got so much stuff riding on your stuff. If you're going to be tricking off with hoes, you got to make sure your tricking is tight. You know what I mean? Like, you got to make sure you got stuff in writing. Like, you can refer back to, like, look at all these emails, these texts, all this stuff. Like, this ain't, you got to make sure you can't be frivolous. Like, some dudes be just frivolous out here. They messing with several chicks, and that's when stuff get messy. Have your one, maybe two little chicks. Cause is Cuomo married? He not married, right?
I don't know if he's married, but there were a few chicks that did accuse, like you said, of that type of stuff. Like, one chick said he wanted a selfie with her, and then they came out and found it. In fact, she wanted the selfie, but of course, you look at the selfie. They actually have the selfie that's out there in the report. It's in the report. And she a cute little something. You know what I mean? So it could come off as, like you're saying, okay, you got a little knockoffs over here.
Yeah, you gotta be tight, and then when you do it, you gotta make it to where, like, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta make it to where, like, if we gonna do this, like, you gotta enter into the room, per se, the proverbial and maybe literal room. Like, you gotta make all the moves, or at least the majority of the moves. Like, you can't be the governor of New York, like, trying to really get at chicks like that, because these things happen, because you got too much to lose. You know what I mean? Like J. Cole said in one of his songs, I never mess with a bitch that ain't got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Like, he J. Cole, he got a lot to lose. You can't mess with chicks that don't got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like with Clinton and Lewinsky, the intern.
Mark Lewinsky, yeah.
But I mean, with that's proximity, because she's accessing him a lot. She has access to him a lot, and it's probably just something that just. But with that probably end up like that, because she really just opened the door, like, yo, I'm gonna suck you up, like I'm gonna tighten you up. He was just like, all right, okay. She probably went for the gusto, But
she probably was like, my throat's deeper than Hillary's.
right, you know, ain't no telling. But you can't be the governor of New York like trying to get at chicks. Like you got to have that's why rappers like if you listen to Chicago Freestyle by Drake, he literally saying the song. He got his right hand man. Damn, I forgot his name. I'm drawing a blank right now. But his right hand man, like he goes out and get the chicks because he know what I like, and he know what Drake like. So he know exactly what chick to holler at. Like, yo, Drake wants you, woo woo, and he line it all up. And then when the girl go to the club, like the girl go to the club with her homegirls and with some of his people from his crew, and they already in there. Drake come later, link up with them, and he leave first. He go back, and she know where to come to. Like Drake ain't got a whole bunch of hands. She know what it is. She know what time it is, and then she move independently. And if you gonna get down with it, you gotta align with what he doing. You the governor, you gotta do the same way. You gotta have another guy lining all this stuff up. Like, I'm not about to be talking and flirting and doing all this stuff with you. You know what it is. I don't need to.
Oof.
And according to Cuomo, he was married all the way up until 2005. So no, he's not married.
Chubbs. That's Drake's homeboy, right hand man, Chubbs.
And while we doing citations, let me do a quick citation note for everybody. It was 21 years. They have occupied. So basically, since 2000, they've been in the what's it called? In
so
the governor's position.
This whole century so far, it's almost a quarter of a century.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, if he would have got one more term, that'd have been 25. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that would have been a quarter century of one governor.
I mean, he could still get one more term because you said he could run again.
Yeah, by going ahead and putting in resignation, he is now eligible to run for a high office. I don't know if he can run for governor, but I think he can run for high office, and he can run for other political positions. That even
Senator,
includes president,
congressman.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he this might not be it for him. And you know what? I think for a lot of his approval rating did not take as big of a hit as I thought it was going to take from the situation. It seems that he still has an overwhelming majority of people who think he's doing a great job as governor, which is interesting. He often says in his speeches, New Yorkers are smart. And I think he's saying that to say you can read through the lines, but you can't just rely on that. You gotta have your hard evidence, just like they gotta have their hard evidence. You know what I mean? So you can't just rely on people read through the lines, because people will read all kind of other stories out of if you read through the lines. Oh, you hugged one that cute girl. Oh, he must be banging that. He must be tearing her back out, boy. Oh, snap! Slam the door on him. That's how I used to do the mode. You know, that's me. You know,
also what helped him is his feud with De Blasio, because a lot of people don't like De Blasio.
Yeah, well, you know, De Blasio came out and said he said some very interesting things. I thought De Blasio was kind of picking at the situation, and
he's trying to pile on. They don't like each other.
Right. So he was trying to add more to it. Like De Blasio, even after the Attorney General came out and talked about, well, let's not forget about the senior citizens. Like he trying to add more. They gonna let the man go. We still need to investigate that. You know, everything needs investigation. So I hope that due process is not totally lost in our country. I really do. I hope it's not dead. It's starting to feel like it is, though. It feels like, you know, all you got to do is say somebody did something, and not to say that he did not do these things. And I want to be clear. We're not saying here at the TMF podcast that he did or did not do it. We don't know which way things going. We can only go off of what the Attorney General's report has shown us and what all people from all sides have come out and spoken about. And of course, it's all big he said, she said situation. Let's just pray that, you know, we can get back to a place where there's some type of formal due process, and that women are getting more confident with these type of situations, that they can now report, get the rape kits, you know, get the information, get the actual paperwork, paper trail going, so that, you know, everybody can have an opportunity to go to the court. And if somebody really did something, you know, they should go away. And if they didn't, they should be exonerated. And unfortunately, Dr. Butterly, I'm not confident the statement you made earlier that if somebody is exonerated, that the other person will receive any punishment for making the false allegation. I'm not confident we're ever going to get to that point, because we still don't give criminals who have been, you know, exonerated a fair shot back in society. You know,
this is true.
I'm still thinking about that football player. I can't think of his name. Byron Banks. He went to jail for 5 years before his accuser came forward to admit the allegations were false. He was in jail for 5 years. How do you get somebody back 5 years of their life? You know, Emmett Till is dead.
Put that person in jail for 5 years, or basically, I say the same thing on this, and I don't want anybody thinking I'm being insensitive or anything like this when I say this, but let's just say somebody let's say somebody was accused someone of rape, and they go to jail, they serve 5 years, but they had a 20-year sentence. Well, I feel that the person who comes back and says, okay, I lied, all right, you got to serve 5, and now you got to serve the 20 on top of that.
Yeah, but see, if they do that, they're not going to come back and say I lied. There would be no reason for them to never say I lied. So,
I mean, unless the truth comes out.
If they know that, it's going to happen. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not confident. You know what I mean? So I could be wrong, though. Maybe people got bigger hearts. I don't know. But I just don't think that result is going to play out. Like, somebody would literally have to say, take me to jail. You know what I mean? They would literally have to tell you, oh, okay, you wanna serve some time for your lie. Got you. Okay, cool. Listen, all hearts and minds clear. This has been a very interesting conversation we've had today. We've definitely got way too many feelings about due process today, and all the things that surround gender propaganda, misinformation, Me Too, and rape culture. And it's unfortunate that we are in a climate where all these things are, they're at the forefront. But at the same time, I wholeheartedly believe if there's something that is going on that is wrong, the justice should come to victims of the wrongdoing. And that's how it really should be. We shouldn't have to brand it this way, but listen, this is how it's being branded. So, I've been here with
Shemaine Man Freddie B.
And
the good doctor, Dr. Buddy Lee.
And his crickets. And I'm yours truly, T Staples. And make sure you catch us next time when we have too many feelings. Peace.